Welcome to Jay Weezy's World. What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Jay Weezy. Thank you guys for watching the video in advance. And if you like the content, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. So I'm going to show you guys my meal prep for this week. Most of the video is going to be my hands and kind of me talking and explaining what I'm doing. And so I figure I'll go ahead and just kind of let you guys know what's on the menu this week. Kind of go through some details. First of all, I'll be transparent. I do not feel like meal prepping or doing anything today. I am dog tired. It's been a long week, but it doesn't matter how I feel. If I want to stay on track with what I'm trying to do, I got to get it done. So it's a little bit after 11 o'clock right now, and I would like to be done with this probably about 2, and then have the rest of the day to do what I need to do. And so with that, what's on the menu, to kind of go over that a little bit, keeping things pretty simple as per usual. First thing in the morning, what I'm going to have is my egg bakes. You guys will see that. And so that's going to be number 1 is my egg bakes. And I'm going to talk about my primary meals, not any kind of snacks or vegetables I'll eat, outside of that throughout the day. I'm just going to talk about what I'll show you guys. So my egg bakes, you guys will see that. And then for lunch, what I wanted to do is one source of protein over the next few days, because typically on my meal prep, I will have 2 different meats. I'll do like a 93.7 ground beef or ground turkey or chicken breast, chicken thighs, switching it up. But I want to do one protein source this week and then eat that between my lunch and dinner. And then after a few days, just buy some more and then make some more, because I feel like I try not to be wasteful, but I still feel like at the end of like Thursday, Friday, there's still like a little bit of waste. I really try not to do that, but after a few days of being in the refrigerator, it starts to taste like the refrigerator. So I just don't want to do that. So I'm going to just see how it goes this week, and then likely probably do that moving forward, depending on how everything goes. Because life does happen, and so cooking in the middle of the week necessarily isn't a joy, but want to kind of go through my process. So, but for lunch, it's going to be, or for the protein, what I'm going to do is make some chicken breasts. I'm going to do my honey chipotle chicken. If you guys have seen a previous video before, I've done it with chicken thighs, boneless, skinless chicken thighs. But this week, I'm going to use boneless, skinless chicken breasts. A little bit of a leaner meat, obviously. And so, with that, for lunch, I'm going to use the chicken and have that with some quinoa, and then pair that with some broccoli. And then for my dinner, what I'm trying to do is have my carbs in the morning and then in the afternoon with my lunch. And then I'm going to take the approach of having some carbs in my dinner, but I'm going to use the chipotle chicken and make a salad out of that. So I've done that previously, so it's nothing new, but have some healthy fats, have the chicken with some avocado, and one thing that I want to show you guys really quick. Give me 1 second. Most of you guys, this shouldn't be new to you guys, but if you guys aren't familiar with this, it is the Walden's Farm. Let me go ahead and get that focused. Whoop, there we go. So the Walden's Farm, specifically this brand, if you're new to working out, I definitely wanted to, or trying to lose weight or whatever it is very macro friendly, but this garlic and herb, fire. But with that, the macros on it, I can zoom in, boom. You guys will see. Go ahead and pause. So super good, 0 calories, 0 fat, 1 total carbohydrate in a serving. The serving size is 2 tablespoons. And then you have, of course, 0 sugar and 0 protein. So it's just pretty much flavor. So I'm going to use this on top of the chicken and the salad and then the avocado, what have you. And so, but also it's good for a marinade too if you wanted to go that route. So if you're not familiar with Walden Farms, definitely something that, you got salad dressings, ketchup, a bunch of different things, syrups. If you're somebody who eats, loves to eat protein pancakes, things like that, it's a good brand. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut over to the meal prep, and I'll see you guys in just a second. The first thing I'm gonna get things kicked off with is the chipotle chicken, because I want to have the chicken marinating as I'm doing the other things. And so I'm gonna go ahead and get the sauce ready. That's probably the most time consuming part of it. So let's go ahead and walk through it. All right, so let's go ahead and get the marinade ready. So first of all, of course, I've got the chipotle peppers, got a white onion, got some fresh garlic, some cilantro, and then I need to Open these up. Couple oranges for some citrus. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut these up, and I'll see you guys here in a second. All right, so I have my oranges cut up, and then what I'm gonna go ahead and do is actually juice these. Now I have a juicer, but I'm gonna juice these into this Ninja blender cup here, Old Faithful. And so let me go ahead and just kind of show you guys. This is more time consuming. I do have a, like I said, a juicer, which I'm gonna use later for my ginger and pineapple juice, but I figure I just, you know, manually squeeze these. So this is gonna take a minute. These are 2 total oranges. I think last time I did this, I probably had too many oranges, so I kind of ate some on the side. And so, because it was too much juice for this. So this is 2 total oranges. It's actually Cara oranges. And so I'm gonna go ahead and squeeze these and check in with you guys here in a minute, just to kind of show you guys, how much juice, 2 of these look like, and then get this stuff chopped up, all that. So I'll be back once this is done and I'm done juicing it. All right, so got the 2 oranges squeezed, nothing crazy. So that's about 4 ounces of actual juice that I'd squeezed, which, if you think about it, between the chipotle peppers, the cilantro, again, I just want to just coat the chicken, so I'm not trying to drown the chicken. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this cilantro chopped really quick. It's gonna go in a blender, so I'm just gonna give it a quick little rough chop. Throw this in there. Okay, nothing crazy. All right, set that to the side. All right, so with this garlic, I don't need to mince it because it's gonna blend up in the blender. I like a little extra garlic in mine, so I'm gonna do 3 cloves. And then it's a little annoying to have to peel all the layers off, so I just use this knife. Nice little punch. So it'll just come right off. Pop that in there. And just repeat with the other ones. And then one thing as far as the garlic goes, if you're ever mincing it on a cutting board, one thing I learned, I forget from where, maybe online, maybe TikTok or something, is actually, once you're done peeling it, this one's a little bit tougher. Once you're done peeling the garlic, throw a little bit of salt on the cutting board, and it'll actually prevent the garlic from sticking to the cutting board. So it kind of helps you mince it up without it getting all pasty. All right, now let's go ahead and cut this onion. Oop. As you got the top and bottom, the butts. I'm gonna use about 1/4 of this onion. So I'm gonna set that to the side. Cut this about that much right there. Gonna take the top skin off because that texture is terrible. And if you are not familiar with that texture, you are going to learn quick. It does not taste good. Oops. You might be thinking it's a lot of onion. No, that's a lot of flavor. Then go ahead and pop this open. All right. The chilies or chipotle peppers. All right. Show you guys this. If you're not familiar with probably should have a ring light on this, but I do like a little low light. Let me know what you guys' thoughts on the comment on how this lighting looks. All right, hopefully that's better. All right, let's go ahead and blend it up. All right, let's go ahead and blend it up. Got the Ninja. Plug that in. Down a little bit. Now I'm gonna go ahead and throw in my seasonings and then blend it again. So grab the other ones. I'll see you guys in a second. All right, so I got my seasonings. So I'm gonna go and throw in some turmeric. I'm a big turmeric fan. Great with inflammation. If you didn't know that, turmeric is fantastic with inflammation, along with, ginger, other things. A little bit of pepper here. Now the adobo chilies are a little bit spicy, like nothing crazy. I think it's more of like a back end type of spice. Decent amount of salt. And then some cumin. The cumin's kind of thick, so a little harder to get out of here. Cover my... And a little bit of cumin goes a long way, so don't get crazy with the cumin. Alright. And of course, the honey I use, in case you're curious, is this, what is it, Nate's Nature, or Nature Nate's Honey Co. Organic Raw. I'm just going to eyeball this a little bit. There we go. A little bit more. Alright. And you will taste that honey come through the sauce. So I'm going to go ahead and just blend it again really quick. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and get the chicken prepped here. Now, you probably notice I switched the area that I'm doing the meat in. I like to switch. I don't like to prepare meats in the same place I prepare my fruits, my juicing, my vegetables. I don't know why I'm doing the whole magic wand thing. But anyways, so have everything sterilized, all of that. The brand I'm going to use, and one thing you might notice, obviously I'm wearing gloves. I like to wear gloves when I'm meal prepping, really anything. When it comes to meal prep, anything. I like to wear gloves because between onion and garlic and like my hands can smell. Yes, I can wash them, but just keeping it simple for myself. So brand, if you guys have seen my previous videos, is Pasture Bird. I like Pasture Bird. It is more expensive, but one thing I do like about Pasture Bird is the packaging. If you look there, some of other brands, you have all that juice that's kind of sloshing around inside the package. I don't like that. I feel like it's just a thing where I feel like it's more or less sanitary when you got juice kind of flopping everywhere. So I like the packaging here. What I'm going to go ahead and do on my cutting board, you notice I'm not using that wood cutting board. I don't like to cut meat on that board because the bacteria from the chicken and meat can get inside the cutting board, which I need to get a new cutting board anyways, but nor here nor there. So I'm going to go ahead and cube these up. I'm going to butterfly them. If you don't know how to butterfly chicken and you want to, maybe a tutorial, I can show you guys how to do that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to butterfly them to get the chicken breast thinner, and then I'm going to cube them up because I want smaller pieces, so that way it coats the chicken better, because I could just take these pieces out and just throw the chipotle sauce on them. It'll still taste good, but you know how it is when you have that thicker chicken. It doesn't get in the middle. Like, chicken breast is not great with flavor. I'm not sautéing them to make them all nice and juicy, what have you, and so on. So I'm going to fillet them or butterfly them, and then I'm going to cut them into smaller cubes. And I'll check in with you guys here in a minute once that's all done to show you guys what it looks like, and then getting it prepped with the actual chipotle sauce. Okay, so I've got the chicken cubed up here. So this is an example of what they all pretty much look like. Again, I just wanted the flavor to kind of get in the gristle a little bit. Plus, also, when it comes to chicken breast or any type of meat, I hate having like the extra tendons on here and everything, so I'll cut that off as well. So let me go ahead and pour this on there, and you guys will see, I mean, with the 2 oranges, you're like, oh, that's a little bit of juice. Now look at this. Between the adobo and everything else being blended up, plenty enough. And so what I'm going to go ahead and do is set this to the side really quick. Again, all gone. I'm going to go ahead and just mix this up. So everything's coated. What I'm going to go ahead and do is cover this up. And I'm going to throw it in the fridge while everything else is being prepped. So I'm going to go ahead and throw this in the fridge and let it chill. All right, let's go ahead and move on to breakfast. So this is super simple, but yet super tasty in my opinion. I'm an egg person. Keeps things simple. So my wife got this a little while back, I think sometime last year. This is from, what is it? Fig Mints. So now obviously it's a cupcake tin, but it is deeper. And so before, the other cupcake tin we would eat maybe 2 egg bakes each, where here we could just make the 6. and this is equivalent pretty much to one. And so now I'm just doing my own meal prep this week as far as the breakfast goes. And so she's gonna do her own thing when it comes to breakfast. So I'm gonna make 5 of these. So I'm gonna put 2 eggs per. All right. And then, but before I do that and show you guys kind of what that's going to look like, is I'm going to spray them down. That way they don't stick. They'll just be able to pop right out. I have this avocado spray from Chosen. If you're not familiar with it, macros are on there are great. 0 calories, 0 fat. All right, so, all right. So I'm spray these down. All right. Again, I'm just doing the 5, so I'm only going to spray down 5. And I'm going to go ahead and crack 2 of these per. That's going to take a second, so I'll see you guys in a minute after they're cracked. All right, now they're cracked. Now what you're going to notice I'm going to do is I'm going to whisk these inside the tin, but the main thing I want to call out is for those that are new to cooking, you may not know this, but if you're going to use a metal fork or something metal in any tin, saucepan, sorry, it's my oven preheating, saucepan, what have you, if you're using something metal, you can scratch the surface of what you're doing, so you can mess it up prematurely. So I'm using a plastic fork to whisk the eggs, so I'm not scratching the cupcake pan. So that's why you'll see a lot of people, of course, cook with wood spoons or plastic spoons, which obviously plastic's not great. Wood has its issues, but I want to give you guys some of the context as to why I'm using a plastic fork, because not everybody is aware of that. So I want to bring attention to it because this is for educational purposes. Now, for those that might be curious, because some people are curious, I'm using these Sprouts cage-free farm fresh eggs. So what you'll notice about farm fresh eggs is that they can be different colors. So some are yellow, some can be orange. And what I hear with some farms do specifically, boring fact maybe for you, is they'll use chili peppers in the food of the birds to make the yolk more yellow. Kind of as a, I don't know if it's like a trademark or, hey, this is a, my brand type of thing, but that's what I saw in a documentary. So don't hold me to that if that's any of you farmers out there. We all do that. Hey, I'm only repeating what was said in the doc. So I'm going to keep things simple. Now, the plan originally was to have spinach in here, but I have some of these fajitas, this frozen fajitas, that I don't want to go to waste. Again, I mentioned earlier in the video, I don't want to waste anything. So I'm going to go ahead and just eyeball and pour a little bit of it in here. This is bell pepper. So you have green bell pepper, red, yellow, and some onion. And this is going to taste good. It's going to smell really good once it actually comes out of the oven. And then it's going to smell good when you actually reheat it later on in the week. So I'm at work and hit that work floor. Folks like, hey, what do you got over there? They're used to it now at this point. So I'm just going to keep it simple. A little bit of pepper, a little bit of salt. Usually I'll kind of get fancy a little bit, do some, garlic powder, onion powder, but just going to keep it simple. And then what I'm doing when I get to work is after I heat them, is I usually throw a little hot sauce, some Valentina or some Louisiana hot sauce. One of my ladies on my team got me one of those big old giant, like huge, excuse me, Valentina hot sauces. I'm still working on for like the last 6 months. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop these in the oven. Now I have it set at 400. So this should take about 20 minutes or so, and I'll show you guys the final product. And then I'm gonna get started on the quinoa while this is inside the oven. All right, guys, so I'm gonna go ahead and get things started off with my quinoa. So I got my rice cooker right here. Oh, tried and true, a lot of miles on this thing. All right, so I use this quinoa. It's from True Roots Organic Quinoa. Now, it does say it's pre-rinsed, so help save some time. So that's a big convenience here. I'm gonna make a cup and a half of this. A cup and a half of quinoa goes all week. So, but just kind of go over the macros. So for each serving, which it is 44 grams per serving, is 160 calories, 2.5 grams of fat, 30 carbs, and then 6 grams of protein. So, decent source. If you don't like quinoa or if you're not familiar with quinoa, it is bomb. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is get a scoop and a half. Go ahead and put it in here, and I'll see you guys in just a sec. All right, so I have some water in here now, guys. Keep in mind, again, quinoa, like I said, will fluff up aggressively, so this thing is going to be pretty filled up by the time it's done. But what I will do is throw a little bit of pink salt in there. Same thing I do with my rice. And I'm going to do the same thing again that I do with my rice, is I am going to throw a bay leaf into it, drop that in there. And then I do a 2-to-1 when it comes to water and the quinoa. And so 1.5 cups of quinoa means 3 cups of water. And so I'm going to go ahead and throw it inside the rice maker. And I do set it to white rice. And that's it. So go ahead and set it and forget it until it's done. Boom. White rice. That's it. Super simple. All right. So getting the chicken set, I'm going to use the air fryer this week. I am super tired. I don't feel like doing a ton of dishes. So not going to use a pan. Not going to do any of that. So I'm going to go ahead and pop it inside the air fryer. Have it preheated at 375. Wife suggested I probably should have used the oven, or crock pot, which I don't disagree with. But I've never done the Chipotle chicken inside the air fryer, so we'll see how it goes. This is going to take a couple batches, a couple different rotations, but I think it should come out good. So I'll show you guys what it's going to look like after it's done in the air fryer and do a little bit of a taste test. All right, so the eggs are done. I'm going to pull them out of the oven. Now I have this here because this tin pan is going to be kind of hot. Show you guys what this looks like. Close up this oven. And again, they will shrink down just a little bit. Right now they're hot, so they'll kind of shrink down just a little bit, but doesn't look good. Looks fire though, right? See them peppers and onions. Smells crazy. All right, so I'm gonna set those to cool. I'm actually gonna set this on another counter. I feel like I have a lot on this one counter already, so I'm gonna go ahead and move these over and let them cool down. All right, so the first batch of the Chipotle chicken's done. Try to give you guys a good look. Look at the color. Let's go ahead and give it a little bit of a taste test. All right. And so again, I had it in there at 375. These cook for about 15 minutes. And so because they are smaller pieces, I don't want to overcook them and have them just be dry and tough. So 15 minutes, and then I'm going to give this a taste test and then throw the other batches in there. So still hot. I literally just pulled this out. I got to stop looking at me and start looking at you guys.
So we're on Fremont Street, which is one of the main thoroughfares heading in and out of downtown. What the locals have told us is that you drive down this street, you see how Vegas transformed
Juicy.
from the tourist Vegas to the
A little kick from the Chipotles. So it's a little bit spicy. You can taste the honey. Super good. Happy with how it came out. Boom. Should I make just a thumbnail? No, with the paper plate. A little bit of a kick. It's good though. But again, this with quinoa and broccoli. And then for dinner, that's for lunch. Then for dinner, again, the salad with the garlic and herb dressing and some avocado. Boom. All right, so I want to show you guys this real quick. So remember that little bit of quinoa that was inside the rice maker? All right, so this is, I don't really appreciate how much is in here. So it makes a lot. And there's not too many carbohydrates or carb sources that are going to give you some protein as well. Like I mentioned, it's 6 grams of protein per serving, and it tastes really good. So if you haven't tried it, give it a try. But I'm gonna go ahead and set this to the side because I just pulled it out the rice maker, and it is burning my hands. So I'm gonna go ahead and set this to the side, let it cool down, and check in with you guys here in a minute. All right, guys. So really quick, I'm not going to show you guys the entire process, but now I'm beginning my juicing for the week. And if you don't know, juicing for me has been pretty important over the last 6 to 8 months, and I've been juicing every Sunday. Well, most Sundays, I want to say 95%. There might have been one weekend where I got like a pre-made juice, and so they've ranged from vegetables to roots to what have you. Not just a bunch of fruit where it's a bunch of sugar, what have you. But I will get a bunch of vegetables or root or both, and then maybe throw a fruit in there to kind of sweeten up a little bit. But for me, I've noticed a lot of the benefits, specifically with inflammation within my feet, my legs, what have you. So definitely something I would um, champion when it comes to doing it. But it's a part of my prep, and it's just as important. So I'm not going to show you guys that entire process. You guys can look at some of my previous videos or my shorts to look at some of my juicing. But this week it's going to be ginger root. So I'm going to take a potato peeler, shave some of the skin off, and then wash it. And then I have a fresh pineapple. Going to go ahead and cut this up. And then so it'll be pineapple and ginger this week to keep things simple. I love it. Tastes good. And so just wanted to throw that in there, that this is a part of my prep and is extremely important that for me that I do this each week to kind of keep me on track. It's one of the things that I've romanticized and I'm passionate about, so I'm gonna continue to do that. So chicken is pretty much done, the quinoa set, the eggs are done, and then that's gonna be pretty much it. And I'll show you guys the final product, including what the juicing is gonna look like after the fact. All right, guys, so everything is done. I'm going to show you guys here the food here in a second, but whenever I'm done juicing, there's always some left afterwards, so the wife and I would do a little bit of a test, see how it is, get her opinion, because her feedback's important. So let me go ahead and give this to you, and then we'll go ahead and cheers it. Let me know what you think.
This looks like more than a shot.
Well, it's probably about 3 ounces. Little ginger kick. I like a lot of ginger. Well, we like a lot of ginger inside of here, so. Let's go. Open up your chest and your pores. All right. So, just as a quick recap, got the egg bakes. Eat one of these per morning, along with my protein shake. Got the quinoa for lunch. And what I'll usually do, or what I will do, is actually throw frozen broccoli into, we keep, for our lunch, we have glass, like Pyrex prep containers. And so the chicken, the quinoa, and I'll throw frozen broccoli in there. And the broccoli, when I put it in the refrigerator, not refrigerator, but microwave, when you go to heat it up, the actual water from the microwave will kind of hydrate the food. So, sorry, the water from the broccoli, frozen broccoli, will actually hydrate the food. So, kind of nice. And then this is all the chicken that's done. Super, super happy with how this came out. And again, that's going to go with my lunch. And then with my dinner for the salad, in case you're curious, I'm using this spring mix. I like to get a spring mix because I want a blend of some, kale, all that stuff. So want to have a good, or not kale, but spinach. So make sure I get my macronutrients, not just the micronutrients. And that's pretty much it. So I will go ahead and do the tough part right now, which is the dishes. I do not feel like doing them, but it is what it is. And so, really quick, in case you're curious on what the final product looks like. So, 2-ounce shot glass. Drink one every morning when I wake up to get the day started. And that is, ladies and gents, I appreciate you guys checking out the video. The whole point of this was just to kind of take you into Jay Weezy's world a little bit, but also hopefully give you guys some inspo on meal prep. Leave your guys' comments or thoughts inside the comments section. I'm going to go ahead and get these dishes knocked out. And that's it. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.